Hello there, welcome to the last session. I can't believe that the week is already over. It's Friday already and we've spent the whole week looking at birds, and I wonder what you've managed to see. Well done if you've managed to watch all of the videos, and if you've done any of the activities, fantastic effort. I wonder what birds you've seen though. Perhaps you've seen a thrush, or possibly you've seen a blue tit, or maybe a blackbird, or maybe you've been down to the park and you've seen ducks and geese and swans swimming on the lake. Or maybe you've been somewhere different, or maybe you've got very special neighbours who might have a peacock. Peacocks are amazingly big birds, aren't they? Beautiful, shiny feathers, blues and greens, and absolutely amazing, with a massive, massive fan tail. Well, maybe you've seen all sorts of birds, but I imagine if you've looked at the birds at all this week, you will have seen a common house sparrow. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to watch a little excerpt from the Superbook show all about sparrows. See what you think about this.
Alithia, I see something.
What is it?
It's our audience.
Hey there, and welcome to the Superbook Show.
You're probably wondering what's going on with this and this.
Well, we just went bird watching, and we saw a lot of interesting things. Quinn, of all the birds we saw today, which one was your favorite?
Probably the big heron, or the colorful goldfinch, or maybe the rare falcon. Which bird was your favorite?
My favorite bird was the sparrow.
Out of all the birds we saw today, your favorite was a sparrow?
Yep.
But they're not big or colorful or impressive looking, and they're not rare either. I see them in my backyard like every day. So why are they your favorite?
Quinn, did you know that sparrows are mentioned in the Bible?
Yeah, but so are other birds.
That is true. In fact, the word bird is used 125 times in the Bible.
Guess you could say bird's the word.
And that's not even counting the times specific types of birds are mentioned.
Like the dove that Noah sent out from the ark to look for dry land? Or the ravens that God commanded to bring food to Elijah during the famine?
Exactly. But my favorite verse about birds is Luke 12:6.
Which verse is that?
Let's check it out in the Superbook Bible app. What is the price of 5 sparrows? 2 copper coins? Yet God does not forget a single one of them.
So Jesus is saying that even if sparrows are insignificant to us, he still cares about them?
And Jesus isn't just saying that God cares about sparrows in general. He cares about every individual bird. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, but what does that have to do with us? We're people, not sparrows.
I'm glad you asked. Let's read the next verse in the passage.
And the very hairs on your head are numbered, so don't be afraid. You are more valuable to God than a whole flock of sparrows.
Birds are an amazing part of God's creation.
But in Genesis 1, we're told that God makes everyone in his own image.
If God cares about every single sparrow, just imagine how much he cares about each one of us, who he made in his own image.
Now that is amazing. You know, I feel like people can feel like sparrows sometimes.
What?
Well, sparrows are pretty small and insignificant compared to bigger and more colorful birds. And sometimes I feel that way when I'm around other people as well.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like that sometimes.
But just like how God cares about every single sparrow, he also loves each and every one of us, no matter how insignificant we may feel.
Exactly. And that's why sparrows are my favorite birds. When I see them, I am reminded of how much God cares for them, and for me.
You're right. Sparrows are pretty cool.
His word is forever alive.
That's quite some facts in there, isn't there? Do you know in the UK, sparrows, there's about 5,300,000 breeding pairs. I had to look that up on the RSPB website. It's got lots of facts about all the different birds you'll see. 5,300,000 pairs in the UK. And the amazing thing that we learnt in that video was that Jesus said not one sparrow falls to the ground without God knowing that it's happened. That is amazing. And like we found out yesterday, and like they said in the video, we are made in God's image. We're a special part of God's creation. So if God cares so much for these tiny, common little sparrows that are all over the world, sparrows kind of live in every country of the world, more or less. If he cares so much for them, how much more will he care for us? In fact, Jesus, in the story in Luke chapter 12, Jesus goes on to tell the people that even the hairs of our heads are numbered. God knows how many hairs are on my head, how many have blown off in this wind, but how many hairs I've got on my head. Even my mum doesn't know how many hairs I've got on my head, but God knows. And that shows us how much God loves us and cares for us. So every time you see a little sparrow, you can think about that, about how much God loves you. Now, before we finish, of all the birds you've seen this week, I wonder which one is your favourite. I'd love to know which one is your favourite. Maybe you could just tell me, get somebody send us a message, or tell us when we're back at youth night next week. Or you could draw a picture of one, or paint one, or collage one, whatever you fancy. I'm going to leave you today with a little video on how a really simple way of drawing. It is a sparrow, but you can adapt the tail and adapt the colours to make it any bird that you've seen. So I'm going to leave that little video with you. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned a little bit more about birds and a lot more about how much God loves us and cares for us. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye.